We finally made it to the kitchen, and it's high time that we start making some smoothies. But there is some housekeeping. There always is housekeeping, right? Let's quickly run through this, and then we'll hop right in and start blending. Point number one that I want to make is that for the scope of this new challenge, we are going to be batch blending our smoothies. And this is just a fancy way of saying we're going to be making 2 smoothies every time we set up our blender to save time. This is called the 30-day smoothie challenge for busy people. Busy people don't have time to make a smoothie every single day. And so by batch blending, we're going to cut our food prep in half. We're going to cut our chopping in half. We're literally going to cut our chopping in half. And we're also going to cut cleanup in half. So that is going to be a wonderful thing. As we go along, I'm going to try very hard to balance knowledge and make it as quick as possible. I don't want to dilly-dally too long because I don't want this video to be 5 hours long. So I'm going to try to feed you guys tips and tricks, things that I think are important to know, but I'm going to try and do that concisely. That is going to be a challenge for me. So let's start by first addressing my blender. For this challenge, I will be using the Vitamix A3500. This is an Ascent series Vitamix in a beautiful copper color. And it looks oh so nice. It's so sexy. The reason that I choose a Vitamix is because they're hands down the best blenders that I've ever worked with. And you don't have to have the A3500 or any other specific model because all of their blenders rock. So you could choose to get a really fancy one just like this. You can also choose a refurbished model which sells for roughly $279. It doesn't matter what you choose, all of their blenders are awesome. And I don't say that lightly. I've been choosing these blenders for 25 years. I've tried an extensive amount of other blenders on the market. Things like Blendtec blenders, KitchenAids, Osterizers, Ninjas, and every other gimmicky blender that I could get my hands on. Because in the beginning of all this, I wanted to find a low-cost alternative. And after spending thousands of dollars, I basically went full circle and came right back to the Vitamix because, it's quite expensive to keep buying cheap blenders that burn out and that don't blend nearly as good.
I mean, some of this stuff looks good, but it's pretty much garbage. If you spend $70 on this blender, you're gonna burn it out on a smoothie, your first 2 or 3 smoothies, and then you're gonna have to buy 4 more of the same blenders. So there's a Vitamix right there.
It's actually a lot cheaper to just invest from the get-go into one of these puppies, and then you'll be a happy camper for the rest of your life. It's probably the last blender that you'll have to buy. So what do you do with that information? I am by no means implying that you need a Vitamix blender to do this with me. You can use whatever blender that you have on hand. But if you're looking to upgrade and you're looking for a killer blender, any Vitamix you get is going to be that killer blender. So that being said, let's just hop in and start. In the first smoothie, we're going to be working with baby greens, dates, frozen cherries, bananas, and pear. A little bit of water. And it's not anything crazy. We're actually going to just dump our greens in the blender, just like that. Then we're going to do 2 cups of frozen cherries. We're also going to put some dates in, 4 to be precise. And you want to be very careful and pick the pits out because you don't want to break your teeth. Though if you're working with the Vitamix, this thing will actually blend those pits. Not that I recommend that you blend pits, but if you happen to accidentally throw one in, it will get pulverized. We're going to do 2 bananas, just like so. And we're gonna do 1 pear. I have a knife right over here. Whenever I blend my smoothies, when I'm working with apples and pears, apple and pear seeds, they have trace amounts of amygdalin, which releases cyanide in the body when digested. A lot of people freak out about this. They're like, oh, cyanide's bad, it's gonna kill me. And so they core their pear before throwing it into their smoothies, just like that, right? I'm one of those weird people that leaves the seeds in because I've been taught that apple and pear seeds, when you just get them in small amounts, those trace amounts of cyanide or amygdalin, they actually explode cancer cells. So I never pull them out. You can pull them out. It's, you know, whatever you feel comfortable with. I will say that in order to be poisoned by apple or pear seeds, you have to eat a massive amount of apples. Like, we're talking like 2 buckets of apples. So there really isn't any ill effect from those trace amounts of amygdalin. We're also going to do a quart of water. And we blend. Now, if you're working with the Vitamix for the very first time, you want to make sure that the lid is sealed tightly. These blenders have a lot of power in them, and if you don't seal the lid, your smoothie has the great potential of exploding onto your ceiling. So be very careful and seal the lid. Then this blender right here has an on and off switch. You're going to switch that to on. You have your choice of pre-programmed settings. You know, if you're new and you just want to set it and forget it, you can press the smoothie setting and it'll just spend 50 seconds doing its thing. Just like so. Or if you're like me and you feel like you know better than the machine, then you can just hit start and adjust it on your own free will. Once your smoothie is nice and smooth, what you're gonna do is you're gonna try it to make sure that it tastes good. Because if your smoothie doesn't taste good, you're not gonna drink it. And if you're not gonna drink it, you're not gonna benefit accordingly. So you might as well just make it taste good. So that's Sergey's rule number 1. Make sure it tastes good before you drink it yourself or feed it to others. And it tastes good. So at this point, you're going to get your 2 quart jars, 1 for today and 1 for tomorrow. And you're going to fill them up. Just like so. And any remainder that's left, this is called the nibble. You give this to your friends, to your kids, to your picky eating husband or wife, and hopefully this will entice them to do the green smoothie challenge with you. So that's what you do. At this point, we are done making smoothie for today. You are going to drink 1 of these today. This is your mission for the day. And then tomorrow, you're going to drink this one. So it's as easy as that. And yet it's still a challenge. And no, you don't have to stop eating other food. This is something that I can't stress enough, because over and over again, despite how many disclaimers I make in these videos, as well as in the ebook, people still ask me all the time. They say, is the 30-day green smoothie challenge exclusively smoothies, or can I eat other food? And the answer is, of course, you can eat other food. You just have to drink this in addition to whatever else you're doing. With day 1 and 2 behind us, it's time to make some more smoothie. This is day 3 and 4. This smoothie is going to be just like the last smoothie we made, except totally different. We're going to use a few slightly different ingredients. Instead of cherries, I'm going to be using frozen mango. Instead of green pear, I'm going to be using a Bosch pear. And why? Because I can. And reason number 2 is because it really doesn't matter what you put into a green smoothie, so long as the ingredients are fresh and ripe and delicious. Basically, if you balance sweet, fibrous fruit with ripe greens, you're sure to make a delicious smoothie every single time. We are gonna first start by throwing our greens in the blender, just like so. This is 1/3 pound of baby greens. And how do you know it's a third? Well, because I bought a pound of baby greens and I roughly took a third, and now I threw that third in the blender. After that, we are gonna carefully pit our dates so as not to get these pits in the blender. In fact, when you have your pits, throw them in the sink, make sure that they're not around. This is 3 cups of frozen mango. In they go. We got our pear. Once again, I'm gonna leave the seeds intact because it's a different day. And I need my cancer cell exploding amygdalin. There's actually a Wired article written about cyanide and amygdalin in apple seeds circa 2016, and they basically found that that was a myth, a wives' tale, that if you eat apple seeds you're gonna harm your body. They also came to the conclusion that you have to eat a massive amount of apple seeds in order to feel any sort of ill effect. So if you don't believe me, you might believe Wired magazine. 2 bananas. Boom. And last but not least, we are gonna do 1 quart or liter, if you're in Europe, of water. And look at that. Doesn't that look really nice? So we got our greens on the bottom, we got our water and our fruit on top. At this point, we are gonna hit blend. So this smoothie I blended for exactly 57 seconds. If you're using a Vitamix, a minute is generally enough. If you're using another blender, I would go 2 or 3 minutes because you want your smoothies cream and silky. They are much more pleasant to drink when they are creamy versus chunky or anything else. And will you look at that? Let's see if it's silky. Oh yeah, like velvet. I almost forgot my own rule. You always want to try your smoothie first before, making sure that it's done. Because right now, at this point, you can still dump it back, fix anything that needs fixing, and ensure that it's going to be good, that you're going to want to drink it. So it's even better than yesterday. You're going to pour your 2 quarts. You're going to pour your nibble. And then you're going to seal it up. Just like so. And now you have a new challenge to drink one of these today, that's day 3, and one of these tomorrow, that's day 4.